Most people, including myself, don't breathe correctly most of the time. Have you ever looked at how most babies breathe? You see their stomachs bulge out and then come back in, and then they bulge out again and they come back in. Not only when they're sleeping, even when they're awake and just going around about their day. They're not scared to let their stomach bulge out like a balloon. But when you look at how an adult breathes, it's totally different. Most of the time, you can't even notice any parts of his body moving as he's breathing in and out. And when you see a body part moving, it's mostly their shoulders and chest. And that's actually not the correct way to breathe. The way you were breathing when you were a newborn, when you were still a child, was actually correct, was actually the way you were designed to breathe. Because when you come, it's a little bit weird. When you come out of the stomach, you have some survival instinct that are very old and are very powerful. Some of them are very, 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 very potent and very ingrained into you. So you actually know how to breathe. You knew how to breathe when you were born. But through different experiences, being anxious, some traumatic experiences, sometimes some injuries, you totally forgot how to breathe correctly and you started breathing in some weird ways. You started breathing less, no, you started stop breathing deeply. You started taking more shallow breaths. So that's why most, if not almost everyone you know, doesn't breathe correctly. So the correct way to breathe is basically just diaphragmatic, how is it called? Diaphragmatic breathing. And the diaphragm is like a part of your body that's just below your rib cage. So you see where your rib cage is, it's just below it. So basically, breathe from your stomach. Stop, minimize the amount of, minimize, like, stop breathing from your chest and start breathing more from your stomach. And that's pretty easy to say, that's like, it's easier to say than done. And just doing that most of the time, it's gonna be not gonna make that big of a change if you don't do it correctly yet. So you need to know the right mechanics. And a good way to teach yourself the right mechanics to breathe, because it's more complicated than you think. You can try two things. First, just breathe out all the air you have in your like you have in your lungs. Breathe it all out your nose, like, and then just let your stomach bulge out. Don't let it bulge out, but relax it. Relax your stomach. That was the correct mechanic. Just breathe all the air you have out. When you do that, normally your stomach has been sucked in, so you breathe all your air out, and you let your stomach you let your stomach come in, and then you just let your stomach relax. That's how you're supposed to breathe in. That's how you're supposed to breathe, actually. That's like kind of the mechanic that you need, that your stomach needs to do for it to breathe correctly. Because I can tell you breathe from your stomach, but you can still do it incorrectly. Because it's not only stomach breathing, but it's more like diaphragmatic breathing. So you need to actually know how to activate that muscle and let it be the primary mover when you're breathing, when you're inhaling and exhaling. I'm not a professional at this. It's just things that I've learned from different podcasts, books, and experiences. Another thing you can do is just lay down on the floor or on your bed, put your hands on your stomach, and just try to breathe as deeply as possible, and just try to let your stomach really relax and bulge out, and then come in, and then bulge out, and then come in. And there's another method, another way of breathing you can use in stressful situations that's very powerful. Like, scientists have found out that it's a very, very, very powerful thing. And it's called the cyclic sign. The cyclic sign. So it's basically you breathe in as much air as you possibly can, and then you try to just sip in a little bit more, a little bit more air. Second little pull of air, and then you slowly breathe out. You can breathe through your mouth and nose. And scientists have seen that just doing that, one of them, will drastically decrease the amount of stress you have. So I remember around 8 months ago, the first time I actually used it in a real life situation. I was at the airport and I saw a very beautiful girl, and we were at some point we were just holding eye contact for like a few seconds, and I kind of started feeling like kind of awkward, stress while I was holding her eye contact. So basically, what I did is literally whilst I was holding her eye contact, I just basically did that. And I did that second step. I breathe, like I inhaled as much air as I possibly could, and I sipped in a little bit more, and I exhaled. And just doing that once made me so much more relaxed. I was looking at her, and I wasn't actually anxious anymore. And that's when she just looked away. So you can see how it can be very powerful in some situation. In that situation, if I hadn't done that, probably I probably would have looked away like a bitch. And of course, don't obsess over eye contact. That's the point where I'm trying to make here. Don't be like obsessive about it. But it's actually important to show how confident you are. A confident human being, if you really think about it, it's not someone who will like, there's some people that will, when they make eye contact with someone, the second that person looks back, they will just look down or to the side or up. But you can see a few people that when they make eye contact with someone, they just hold it until that person looks away, or until maybe they have something else to do. And you can imagine that person that's really as confident enough to do that. It's probably someone who actually breathes correctly. And recently I've discovered how, because it's hard to kind of remember how to breathe, like in normal real life situation, to breathe to your stomach and breathe fully and all those things. So recently I've been experimenting with this, and something that actually helped me, because I tried to breathe like fully in class and in real situations, but very often it actually made me even more awkward for some reason. Something I did is, instead of focusing on the air that comes in through my nose, I just focus on passively bulging out my stomach and pulling it back in. I don't focus on inhaling or exhaling. I was in class one day, or for a whole week. I tried to do this. It's just focus on expanding my stomach as much as possible, and then bringing it back, and expanding, bringing it back, and just doing that. Because very often when I was just focusing on breathing as much air to my nose as possible, I was very focused on that, so I couldn't focus on the present moment and the things around me and the people around me. So it made me feel sometimes even more awkward. But focusing on my stomach really bulging out and then coming back in, and bulging out and then coming back in, made me, I was able to be really focused in the present moment, and I was actually very relaxed because it taught me that I was actually using the right mechanics. I found that just focusing on this, just something bulging out and in, and not really focusing on your breath, at least for me, has been actually very valuable, and actually helped me drastically to relax and be more confident in social situations and just like everyday life. So yeah, that's, I think, pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, that's all I would say here. I also recommend you just practice for like a few minutes every day. But you can lay down on your bed, put your hand on your stomach, and just try that out. Of just breathing to your stomach, until you've really gotten down those mechanics of really breathing into your stomach and everything. I think it's very important. In your diaphragm, actually, I've learned that it actually doesn't. It's not just in front, of course. I said it's below the rib cage, but it goes also to your back. So the correct way to actually breathe is not only to breathe to the front of your body or your stomach, but you also have some level, let the back of your body actually expand a little bit. But it's actually something more advanced. Even I can't really do this well. But something you can try to actually learn this is go into like a resting squat. You know what the resting squat is? When you like sit down, but you need to be kind of mobile to do this. You kind of sit down into a squat in a deep squat position, and you try to breathe your stomach there, and you'll see that you automatically start breathing from the back of your body, like from the back of your diaphragm, because your diaphragm is not just in front, but it's like also in the back, like your ribs. It's below your rib cage. It's like connected to your rib cage. It's below your rib cage, and it actually goes like this around your body. Something you can do to actually learn how to engage the back of your diaphragm. It's just to get into a resting squat position, like a deep resting squat position, and then try to breathe from your stomach from there. You see that you will automatically start breathing from the back of your body, from the back of your diaphragm. I haven't totally learned how to do this whilst I'm just going around about my day, but I'm slowly learning how to do it. So you can see breathing is something, it's really like a skill. It's really a skill that you need to master, especially as a man, as a human being in general. It's a skill that we used to know how to do, but we forgot. It's a lost art, forgotten skill that we need to reclaim for ourselves. Because of how the world is structured, we forgot how to do the most basic thing. Breathing is the most basic thing that we're supposed to all know how to do, but we never taught this in school. We taught some random things in math, but we're not even taught to breathe correctly. And that's why we're all anxious. It's like a cycle. We're anxious because we do not breathe correctly, and being more anxious causes us to breathe even more shallowly. And it just makes it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So really take this seriously. And we're going to really go get on this journey of really focusing on breathing for a while. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Don't worry from discomfort. Chase it.